We're talking about love and future.
Yes.
My grandfather and grandmother were born in Holmes County, Mississippi. My great-grandfather owned several horses, cows, chickens in Mississippi. He did too well as a black man. And so the KKK threatened to kill him. And so one day they kidnapped my great-grandfather. And my grandfather was with him downtown. My grandfather ran home. And they had my great-grandfather, Papa Caesar, they released him at midnight, and they said, before the sun comes up, you need to be gone. Wow. Or we're killing your entire family. And so my grandfather grew up with that image in his head. As a teenager, he said to himself, none of my kids will ever pick a piece of cotton. This is in the 1930s. None of my kids will ever pick a piece of cotton, and they will all go to college. He had never met a black person who had gone to college. And all 12 of their kids went to college. And so, you know, my granddaddy, before he died, he said, Greg, we sit under shade trees we did not plant. And we drink from wells we did not dig. And he said, boy, I need you to have your shovel and your seeds. And I am the manifestation of those answered prayers. And that back-breaking work, right? And so the work that I do today in Fearless Dialogues is well digging, tree planting work for my great grandkids that are not yet born. With Fearless Dialogues, what we seek to do is to create these unique spaces to invite unlikely partners, folks who don't normally talk, into hard, heartfelt conversations about taboo subjects. If we're going to have this conversation about culture, we need to make sure that all of the stakeholders that have some play is part of that conversation. And so I realize community is a gift, and I try and find it in unique ways, as Taliba said, in the mundane that is truly miraculous. I have a spiritual teacher. I'll call her name too. Her name is Elisa Commerce. She is a Black urban monk. And one of the things that she talks to me about is the time energy continuum. And this is extremely beneficial in thinking about what it means to be a conduit. And she says, if someone can take your time, they can drain your energy. And when all of your energy is drained, they will take your life. Therefore, in order to guard your life, you must protect your time. Because it takes energy to create change. And we must vitalize our bodies, our minds, and our spirits to do that well digging, seed planting work.
But to the point of community, some of our conversations were also about, like, if you are working particularly like on a campus or in a like diversity space where something is coming up that it's like, okay, so how does this space then have this conversation? And the two folks in my group who spoke on that kind of spoke positively to the outcome that the campus spaces that they were a part of both really acknowledged what happened and really like took the moment of pause to unpack it right then and to not just be like, okay, this is going to be a scheduled, you know, and check, like we're going to handle it at some super organized time type of thing. But it was more like a identifying the harms done and then acknowledging like, okay, this can't just be just like our professional diversity and inclusion roles. Like this has to be like, how do we identify this from a personhood space?
So I'm from Hong Kong, and I've lived there almost my whole life. And my parents had come to I did college in the US, and they had come to the US to visit me and for my graduation. And during the time that I had been away from at college, I also left the church that I grew up in. So I grew up in a Christian household, and during my 4 years away at college, that was no longer the case for me. I was living a different lifestyle. When my father came to visit me in college, he was avoiding meeting my friends. And at one point, I chased him down and was like, "What's wrong? Why are you running away from me? You came all the way from Hong Kong to be here for my graduation. I don't understand." That's probably the most vulnerable conversation that I had with my father. And my response to that was, "I'm still me. I'm still your daughter. I don't go to church anymore. But who you've known for the past 22 years is the same person, his baby girl."